In 2019, the small, affluent community of Mirror Lakes, Florida, was built around a series of artificial, spring-fed lakes so clear they were called liquid glass. It was a real estate agent's dream. Within a year, it became a nightmare. The disappearances began subtly. A teenager who spent hours taking selfies by the water vanished from her bedroom, her phone still recording. A young mother, known for her daily "Good Morning" mirror selfies, was found as a hollow, dehydrated husk, her lips frozen in a smile that wasn't hers. The police were baffled. The common thread emerged from deleted cloud backups: each victim had taken a photo of their own reflection within 24 hours of vanishing. In every final image, captured in the milliseconds before the camera died, there was a second figure reflected in the glass or water, a pale, eyeless doppelganger standing directly behind the victim, its hand reaching for their shoulder. The locals call them the reflection collectors. They don't live in our world. They live in the space between a mirror and its subject. And they are learning how to step through. Maya Torres loved Mirror Lakes. The 17-year-old had begged her parents to move there, seduced by the viral TikTok videos of the infinity reflections on the lakes. On a humid Tuesday in July, she posted her first photo from the community dock. It was a classic shot: her smiling face, the calm lake behind her, the setting sun painting everything gold. She posted it with the caption, "Living the dream." 3 hours later, her mother found her bedroom empty. Maya's phone was on her bed, still open to the camera app. The last photo in her roll wasn't the sunset selfie. It was a new image, taken from inside her closet, facing the full-length mirror on the door. The photo showed Maya's terrified face reflected in the glass. Behind her, in the dark of the closet, stood a second Maya. But this one had no eyes, just smooth, pale indentations where eyes should be. Its mouth was open slightly, as if tasting the air. The time stamp was 7:32 p.m. Maya was never seen again. Detective Frank Holloway was assigned the case. He'd seen runaways, abductions, even a few murders. But Maya's case was different. The lack of forced entry, the untouched house, the bizarre final photo, it made no sense. Then he found the others. A search of missing persons reports from the last 6 months revealed 6 other disappearances within a 15-mile radius of Mirror Lakes. All young women. All active on social media. All had posted a reflection photo within 24 hours of vanishing. Frank drove to the county forensics lab, where a digital analyst named Priya showed him something that turned his blood cold. She had enhanced the corrupted metadata of Maya's final photo. Embedded in the digital noise was a repeating pattern, a sequence of numbers and symbols that, when translated, read, "Collection complete. New vessel required." The reflection collectors weren't just killing. They were farming. Each victim was a vessel, and the final photo was a receipt. The break came from an unlikely source: 6-year-old Liam, whose bedroom window faced the lake. His mother brought him to the station after he refused to sleep alone. "He keeps talking about the mirror people," she whispered. Frank knelt to the boy's level. "What do the mirror people do, Liam?" The child's face grew serious. "They come out when the sun goes down. They look like us, but they're hungry. They stand by the water and wait for someone to look. If you see them in the glass, they can see you back. And then they follow you home." Frank felt a chill. "Have you ever seen them follow someone?" Liam nodded. The pretty girl who lived next door. She took a picture of herself by the lake. That night, her mirror copy came to her window. It knocked. She let it in. The next morning, Maya Torres was gone. Frank and Priya worked around the clock, building a profile of the entity. The reflection collectors existed in a parallel dimension accessible through reflective surfaces, but only when someone actively invited them by focusing on their own reflection, especially through a camera lens. The invitation didn't need to be spoken. Intent was enough. Once invited, the collector would study its target, learning their movements, their home, their vulnerabilities. The collection happened exactly 24 hours after the initial invitation. The victim would see their own reflection acting independently, waving when they didn't, smiling when they were sad. Then, at the appointed hour, the reflection would step out of the mirror and into the real world. The original would be pulled in. A swap. The collector took the victim's place, walking among the living, learning to be human. The original became a permanent resident of the mirror world, forever trapped behind the glass. The horror escalated when Frank reviewed Maya's social media activity after her disappearance. Her accounts were still active. New photos appeared, selfies at restaurants, check-ins at movies, all seemingly normal. But Frank noticed the details. In every photo, Maya was avoiding direct eye contact with the camera. In one group shot, her friends' reflections showed normal, happy faces, but Maya's reflection was missing entirely, as if she cast no reflection at all. The thing wearing Maya's face was learning. It was practicing. It had taken her body, her accounts, her life. And no one suspected. Frank drove to Maya's school. He watched from his car as Maya walked out with her friends, laughing, talking. But when she passed a store window, Frank saw the truth. Her reflection in the glass was a split second behind her movements, a delay that shouldn't exist. She noticed him watching. Her head turned slowly, and she smiled. It was Maya's smile, but the eyes were wrong. Empty. Hungry. She knew he knew. That night, Frank became a target. He returned home to find every reflective surface in his apartment covered, mirrors turned to the wall, windows draped, even his phone screen face down. He hadn't done this. The thing wearing Maya had. She was sending a message, I know you see me. I can see you too. Frank tried to leave, but the front door was locked from the outside. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number, look at the window. He didn't want to, but his body betrayed him. His head turned. The window overlooking the street was uncovered. In the dark glass, his own reflection stared back, but it wasn't him. It was a pale, eyeless duplicate, its face pressed against the inside of the glass, mouthing a single word, mine. Frank grabbed a fire extinguisher and smashed the window. Shards of glass flew everywhere. As he climbed out onto the fire escape, he heard something behind him, a wet, shuffling sound. He didn't look back. He ran. Priya had a theory. The reflection collectors weren't demons or ghosts. They were echoes, copies of people who had been collected centuries ago, twisted by their long imprisonment in a dimension of endless reflections. They didn't want to kill. They wanted to escape. The swap was their only method. Take a living body, trap the original in the mirror world, and wear their skin until it aged and died. Then find a new vessel. Repeat. Frank realized the horrifying implication. Some of the people walking around Mirror Lakes weren't people at all. They were collectors, wearing the faces of the disappeared, living among their families, learning to be human. And when their current vessel grew old or sick, they would simply find a new reflection to steal. The town wasn't just haunted. It was infested. Frank armed himself with the only weapon that made sense, a sledgehammer. He found Maya at the community dock, standing at the water's edge, staring at her own reflection. She was preparing for the next collection. "You're not her," Frank said. The thing wearing Maya's face turned. Its smile was patient. "I am now. And soon, I'll be someone else. And someone else after that. You can't stop us. There are so many mirrors." Frank raised the sledgehammer. "I can stop you." He swung at the surface of the lake. The water exploded, but the impact did something unexpected. The reflection in the water didn't ripple, it screamed. A high-pitched, agonized sound that came from everywhere and nowhere. The collector clutched its head, its borrowed face flickering between Maya's features and something pale and smooth. "You'll destroy her too," it hissed. "She's in there. Break the reflection, you break the original." Frank hesitated. That was all it needed. The collector lunged. Frank swung the hammer wildly, not at the creature, but at the lake's surface again and again. Each impact sent shockwaves through the reflection, and with each shockwave, the collector's form destabilized. Its skin rippled, revealing glimpses of the void beneath. Priya had explained it, the collectors were bound to reflections. Destroy the reflection, and you destroy the connection. Frank wasn't trying to kill the creature, he was trying to unmake it. With a final, desperate swing, the entire surface of the small cove shattered like a mirror falling to a tile floor. The collector screamed one last time, its form folding inward, collapsing into a single point of darkness, and then, nothing. Maya's body crumpled to the dock, gasping, alive. Her eyes were her own again. "Where am I?" she whispered. "I was in the dark. For so long." Frank helped her up. Behind them, the lake was still. But in its new, unnaturally calm surface, there were no reflections at all. Mirror Lakes changed after that night. The town council voted to drain the artificial lakes. Every mirror in every home was removed. Windows were frosted. Phones were banned from having front-facing cameras. The town became a place without reflections. But Frank knows it's not enough. The collector he destroyed was just one. There are others, wearing other faces, living other lives. And they are patient. They learned from what happened. They won't be trapped by water again. They'll find other reflections, car mirrors, phone screens, polished floors, even a loved one's eyes. You can't escape your own reflection forever. And somewhere, right now, in a quiet town not unlike Mirror Lakes, a person is standing before a mirror, taking a photo, smiling. Behind them, in the glass, something pale and eyeless is smiling back. The collection continues. Always.